Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are once again going to talk about the supply chains and what happens if the train stops because there is a potential railroad strike brewing. It could start as soon as Friday, but that seems a little unlikely. We have talked in the past about what happens if the trucks stop. We talked recently about the possibility of a UPS strike and how much that impacts the supply chain. A freight train strike is that times 10. It's huge. It's a really big deal. So the narrative is shaping up to say there's going to be a strike on Friday. And that is possible, but an immediate work stoppage seems unlikely. Now, the railroads, the management, and because there are so many players involved here, so many multiple unions and railroad companies, we're just going to simplify this. Unions and management. Management meaning the boss, the railroad companies. The railroad companies, they probably would like the federal government to step in. Now, recently, at the beginning of this week, they kind of came out and were like, yeah, we're already telling people who are going to ship hazardous material or stuff that needs to be secured, we're going to go ahead and tell them to stop. The unions believe that this is them putting the shippers, the consumers, and the supply chain at risk in an effort to pressure the federal government to step in and make sure there isn't a strike. Now, Biden can't stop the strike. There's a thing called a cooling off period, but he already used it. Friday is the end of that period. So it's going to take Congress to act. I think that's what management might be kind of banking on right before a midterm in a period where labor sentiment is running high. I'm not so sure that Congress is going to push that through. Certainly not by Friday. Now, once again, as we talked about before, it's not always pay that is triggering this. In this case, a couple of the unions are pointing to staffing issues that basically require their people to essentially be on call 7 days a week, even if they're not scheduled to work. Now, it's not exactly that, but that from the workers' point of view, that's how it's playing out for them. So that's something that they're kind of intractable on. They're not going to move on that issue. The pay and stuff like that, that's one thing. The staffing and the scheduling, that seems to be something that they're pretty set on, that this needs to change. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is a lot like the UPS thing. I mean, if you're talking about something and if it shuts down, the whole country stops, I mean, those people should probably be taken care of, just my opinion. Now, this is going to have impacts beyond just freight trains. Amtrak is already suspending some services, particularly those that are long, the longer routes, because Amtrak, I want to say out of the 22,000 miles they use of track, they only own 700 of it. So a strike could definitely impact them as well. Now, Biden is talking directly to the unions and to management, trying to get something done. The Secretary of Labor is stepping in, but at this point in time, there hasn't been a lot of movement. Some of the unions have a tentative agreement, but the engineers and conductors, if they go on strike over staffing and scheduling issues, the trains stop. So that's the situation as it is. I would like to think that a deal will be reached right at the last moment. with something like this is what normally happens. I would think that management would understand that if freight becomes unreliable because of staffing issues or scheduling issues or strikes, that, I mean, shippers may find other ways of doing it. So we're in a period of innovation. Older industries that have been around a long time that rely heavily on technologies that could be that shippers could find a different way of doing things. They probably want to keep their stuff up and running. So I think we'll see some movement from the management side, but we're going to have to wait and see. They may really be counting on their allies in Congress to step in. I don't know how likely that is, though. So anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.